guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm actually here with a review of a product by Dingbats Notebooks. So full disclosure, Dingbats actually contacted me to see if I would be interested in reviewing one of their notebooks if they sent it to me. So I did receive this notebook for free. However, the review and my opinions of the notebook are my own. So let's get started. This is a case-bound notebook with a pocket. It is an A5 plus. So to give you an idea, let's go ahead and compare it with my Leuchtturm. So here we go. So you can see that the Dingbats is slightly larger, a little bit wider, and just a hair taller than a Leuchtturm. It is about the same width. So it's an A5 plus notebook. It has 192 pages or 96 sheets, and it is dotted with perforated pages, and it is 100 GSM cream paper. One of the other things about this notebook, if you look, so this was the packaging. I just cut off the plastic so it wouldn't make as much noise, but it came with the packaging, oops, like so along the top here. So I just cut it out so I'd have all of the information. So this is actually a Lebanese company, and one of the things about their notebooks is that they're actually green. So on the website, they explain the things that they do to make sure that their notebooks are environmentally friendly and all of that. And they also have this theme of wildlife. So the different colors, the different like outer colors of the notebook correspond with a different animal. So I chose the dark green with the deer on it, and I actually have in the back here, oops, so here, let me go ahead and just grab this. So the notebook actually comes with this little flip out guide that has all of the information. So I wanted to show you, here we go. This is the notebook that I have. So it's the personal wildlife. Let's see if I can focus. So you have the deer in dark green, the bear in brown, the whale in blue, the duck in black, and then I believe that's it. Yes. So you actually have a couple of other colors in the reporter style. So you have the different outside looks to them, and then you can choose different paper. So they've got lined and graphed and dotted and all that fun stuff. I, of course, chose dotted. So first impressions of the notebook. The elastic is super, super tight, which I really like because, oh my gosh, hold on. So first impressions of the notebook, the elastic is super tight, which I really like because, as you guys know, a lot of times our elastics get stretched out with wear. So the fact that this one is like super taut to start with is really nice. To give you an idea, the Leuchtturm, I mean, this one I've been using for 5 months, and the Leuchtturm still works pretty good, but it's a slightly thinner elastic than the Dingbats, so this one has a nice, like, firm feel to it. The outer cover, it feels so nice. Like, literally, I got it and took it out of the package, and I just sat there, like, feeling the cover because it's just got this, like, nice pebbled kind of texture to it, and the color is so nice. It's almost like a green black. Like, it's such a dark green that it's so perfect. I love the color of this. So it does also come with a pen loop. Now, I'm not sure exactly if I will use the pen loop. I tend to not use them, but just for comparison's sake, this is my everyday writer. Let's go ahead and, all right, so this guy fits in here nicely. He's got a little bit of wiggle room in there. Let me grab the other pen that I normally use, see if I can find it in this pit somewhere. Where are you? Oh, literally the one in my hand. So the other pen I tend to use so this is the Pilot G1 0.5 point, and this is the Inkjoy Gel 0.5. So let's go ahead and see if the Inkjoy fits. Oh gosh. So the outside of the barrel on the Inkjoy is like rubberized, so it's a little harder to get in there, but it fits really nicely in there. Oop. So it's a decent sized pen loop, and it is an elastic pen loop. So if you had a wider pen, I feel like that would work pretty well. The only thing would maybe be if you start with like a really big pen, it might stretch out the elastic a little bit, but otherwise. So the back just has the Dingbats logo on there. Oh gosh, I cannot get over how this outside feels. So let's go ahead and open her up. The inside of all of the notebooks has the footprints of the animal that is featured on the cover. So since this is a deer, it's got little deer hoof prints on the inside. And you've got the Dingbats logo, and you have the information. So if found, please return me. You can put your name and all that information in there. Oops. So then we start directly in. Zoom back out. So you start directly in with your dotted pages. So all of the pages in here are actually perforated, which is something to consider in terms of deciding what to use the actual notebook for. I will say that in terms of the possibility of using this as a bullet journal, it is definitely, as far as like blank notebooks go, it is definitely usable because it's got this like 100 GSM paper, which is awesome. The only thing you would have to do is set up your own index in the front here, and you'd have to number the pages because they are not actually pre-numbered. They just have the little Dingbats logo on the bottom right corner. But you know, it's one of those things, like if you already are using something like a Moleskine, which aren't pre-numbered, then it's not really that big of a deal. You just sit down while you're watching TV and you just number the pages yourself. So if you wanted to use it for a bullet journal, that is a consideration with no index and no pre-numbered pages. However, it is 196 pages, which the Leuchtturm is 240, so it's pretty comparable. It's just, what, like 50 pages less. The paper feels really nice. It's definitely thicker than a Leuchtturm paper. I mean, it's 100 GSM, whereas the Leuchtturm, I believe, is like 80. So this one, I'm going to do a pen test in the back to see how it works. But it's got some really nice thick paper. And then in the back, you've also got a little pocket where you can keep stuff in if you would like. The pocket actually just came with this guy in there, and this comes with all of the different products that Dingbats has. Oops. So this is my first notebook. I have no idea what any of the other ones are like. This is the first one that I'm testing out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do a pen test, because that, as we all know, is one of the really, really important questions. So, and I'm actually going to not, yeah, I will do it on the back of this. So the first and last page here is just not printed with the dot grid, but it's the same paper as what's in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the pen test on there. And I'm going to grab a couple of my fountain pens to test. So I've got a couple of fountain pens, and then I chose a couple of other pens that I use pretty frequently. So I've got a Tombow, my Pilot, an Inkjoy, I've got this Faber-Castell, one of my Pentel sign brushes, I've got two mild liners, and my microns. So let's go ahead. Okay, so I do have two Pentels, and I chose the one that is newer, so it has more ink. And let's take a look. So there is a little bit of ghosting. Whoops. There is a little bit of ghosting, but there is no bleed through, so that is a good sign for a start. All right, so I'm going to start with my everyday writers. Okay, so I've got my Pilot G1. Let's just make a stack up here, kind of. Okay, so these are the two main gel pens I use, and pretty nice. There's a little bit of ghosting, but again, no bleed through. I'll give you guys a close-up after I finish with all the pens. All right, let's try the microns. So okay, So those are my microns. And once again, ghosting, but no bleed through. And actually the finer the point gets, the less ghosting there is, at least with the microns. All right, next up, let's go ahead and do mild liners. So I do have other mild liners, but these are the two that I use the most frequently. And you get a tiny bit of bleed through almost starting at the end, but I was pressing kind of hard to get a lot of ink out, but there's no full bleed through going on with those, so that's a good sign. Let's go ahead and do this guy. And of course I've forgotten to do the little swatches. So this was the Copper Faber-Castell, and once again, ghosting, but no bleed through. So let me go back and just do the 0.8. That would be the one I would use to color in if I were to, and we're good on that one. All right, so let's see, what are we up to? So here, let me go ahead and do my Tombow. All right, well, that was some pretty bad lettering right there, but oh well. And this is the number 15. Okay, so I just picked a black one because that was the darkest color I could think of. And all good on that. All right, so now I'm gonna start with, oops. So I've got my two lammies. Here we go, do them up here. So I've got my two lammies. This is an extra fine point, a fine point. I've got a medium, yes, a medium nib Pilot Metropolitan, and my creeper, which is a flex nib. So I'm gonna do that one last because I have a feeling he might be the one that bleeds through. So let's see. So it definitely writes really nicely on this paper. So this is my Lamy Extra Fine and with Diamine Gray ink, and looks pretty good. Okay, so this is the Lamy Fine with just standard black Lamy ink, and we're okay on that one. Whoops. Okay, so this is the Pilot Metropolitan medium with Burgundy Mont Blanc. I actually had to go and check the name of the ink because I had forgotten. So now we're gonna test the, Noodler's Creeper, which is a flex nib. So this is the, I wanna say this was the medium fine. It's the smaller size nib if I remember. So I have some issues with ink flow with my nib. I need to get some kind of a repair kit, I think. So this is a noodler. I'm just gonna write that and check because I can already tell that it's feathering and it's actually not bleeding that bad. Let's go ahead and do the rest. Okay, so that was a little bit messy, but let's move those off there. So that, I'm letting this Green Nuage J. Herbin ink dry a little bit. Now, the biggest thing, all of the pens worked really well with the exception of my noodler. And I'm actually not very surprised because that pen puts down a lot of ink and it gives me a lot of trouble with a lot of paper. So overall, there is ghosting, but 0 to very little bleed through. You can see kind of here on some of the points, it kind of wanted to bleed through with the fountain pens. And then with the gel pens, you obviously get the bumps in the page because of the style of pen, whereas with like a micron, it leaves it smooth. But the biggest thing was that, oops, with the noodler, I got a lot of feathering. And to be perfectly honest, I have experimented with all of the paper that I have, and the only paper that I have found that I can get pretty like good results with the noodler is Clairefontaine. I've even tried with Rhodia, which is normally pretty fountain pen friendly, and I was still getting feathering and bleed through on that. So the fact that one pen out of all of them is kind of giving me issues is really not that bad, and it honestly only partially bled through. I've had worse bleed through in other notebooks, so that's actually a really good sign. The main reason I wouldn't use it in this notebook, I think, is just because for some reason it's feathering a lot on this particular paper, but all of the other paper looks like it holds up really well. I would be very comfortable writing in fountain pen in this particular notebook. I think it would hold up really well. Yeah, so there is the pen test, and I have to say that overall this notebook feels like it's really, really nice and sturdy. It feels like it's got a really solid spine, which is nice. And actually, let's go ahead and do a test. So I think, oops, oh my gosh, there was even a bookmark. Guys, there's so many things that I didn't even realize. So we've got a bookmark here, just like a standard ribbon bookmark. So I have not broken in the spine, which is something that I do with all of my notebooks, regardless of whether they say that they lay flat or not. I do like to break in the spine a little bit, but once you kind of give it a push, it opens and lays pretty flat, which is fantastic. That is always a very important feature of any notebook. So yeah, I will definitely give this a good spine break-in on my own. I won't do that on camera. So if you guys are interested in looking at a different notebook for whether bullet journaling or any of that kind of stuff, I would definitely consider checking out these guys. The paper quality is really good. I'm really impressed with how the pen test turned out, and I really like the fact that it's 100 GSM paper. I love that it comes with dot grid, obviously. And one of the other great things is the company is focused on environmentally friendly notebooks. So I will go ahead and link all of the information down in the description box below so you guys can check it out and you can see a little bit more about their philosophy. But if I recall, these were actually a really reasonable price. I think it was between 14 and 15 euros for this particular style of notebook, because obviously they have a much larger catalog than what I'm working with here. But yeah, if you guys are interested in checking them out, you definitely should do them. I am really excited to figure out something to use with this notebook. Obviously, I just started a new bullet journal for September, so it will not be my next bullet journal, like my next bullet journal, but if I don't come up with a use for it in the next couple of months, it might be my 6th bullet journal. We will see. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them down below in the comment section, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!